Well, hey everybody, it's Dylan here, and welcome to a series I haven't done in a while. Welcome to your daily news brief. Now, I know it's technically the 7th right now, but usually for these, I want to release them like at midnight or 1 a.m. the next day, so that way 1000% I can say all the news for the day of, in this case, 9/6/23. So that way I can truly say it's been a whole day, all the news has came out. So just a little disclaimers off the bat. I think hopefully I'll put timestamps to break this video down. But a lot of my sources today are predominantly from one site. But with that being said, you can find it on like several other sites. Some of my sources are going to be like another site, but I'll maybe I'll link all of my sites that I normally use on a day-to-day basis just to kind of catch up with the news. If you want to look out. No, if you want to look at them to see what the daily newses are whenever I don't post these, if you don't already keep up with them, I don't know. I just want to be a good Samaritan. Alright, enough of that shit. So, here we go. We're going to get on to the news for the day of... What is today? Today is September the 6th, 2023. We're going to start off today's news with an update on Nick Aldis' WWE status. So, he's been shadowing recently as a producer, in case you haven't kept up with that. He's been a producer backstage at WWE tapings of the past, let's just say... I think it's been reported longer than this, but I remember at least since Payback, so maybe a little bit further back. Point taken. He has revealed on Insight with Chris Van Vliet that the agreement he has with WWE is, and I quote, "They just invite me to come and, see how everything works and shadow as a producer and sort of be a part of meetings and oversee the whole television operation, which is, I've done a lot. I've worked a lot of hats. I think people who have followed my career, particularly in the past few years, know that in addition to wrestling, I was wearing a lot of hats behind the scenes in my last place, in brackets, the NWA. So I certainly don't feel like it's completely new sort of situation for me. Having said that, there's pro wrestling and then there's WWE. So, just taking in the sheer sort of volume of the operation and the number of people involved and the scale of everything, just that alone has been the bias of my time so far." I don't know what this accent is, by the way. Confession times. I've watched a bunch of Nick Aldis' matches, but I've never heard him speak, I think. Also, I gotta tell y'all a little story later on, but I'm gonna continue this. He went on to continue to say, quote, "But it's all very much sort of a handshake situation at the moment. Very much a, hey, why don't you come in and see how this works? How all this works. See if you like it. I'll say this. They've been very, very good to me and very, very accommodating as far as they've said, look, this is as much about whether you like it. Now, where that goes, I don't know, and I'm okay with that." He then continues later on in it. "It's tough with..." Oh, this is a separate segment, by the way. Sorry. Just figured I'd include this in. "It's tough with the internet and social media because people want to put this sort of definitiveness on everything and finality like, oh, that's it. He's with WWE. That's it. Game over, And so now people, in brackets, ask, are you not wrestling anymore? Have you retired? Are you not wrestling? Why did he... Hold on. Yeah, he said that twice, apparently. I mean, even the boys are saying that. Like, are you done wrestling? And it's like, slow down. He also noted in that same article that he'd love to wrestle for the WWE. But he's going to explore other options, basically, that the producer role currently gives him. And maybe other options later on down the road. So, you know what, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool that they're just like, hey, you've not really ever done this before. You've had similar jobs to this, but why don't you just try this out? You don't even have to sign with us. Just figure out if you like this or not and then get back to us. That's kind of cool. Alright, so I just want to give you a heads up going into this. There's going to be a lot from this video forward, hell, even if I get to it, even like last week's news, if I do a video on last week's news ever, there's going to be a lot of CM Punk mentions. I'm going to give you the highlight real quick. Hold on, let me find the highlight, then I'll give it to you. Alright, so here's the highlight. Basically, Punk was fired with calls by All Elite Wrestling on Saturday, September the 2nd, following an investigation into Punk's backstage altercation with Jack Perry at All In. There's a lot of drama and a lot to unpack with that. Maybe one day I'll do a video on that, but now, that and what I'm about to say is all that you need to know. So Tony Khan announced that AEW's disciplinary committee and outside legal counsel had recommended he fired Punk, and Khan noted Punk's actions meant he feared for his own life at All In, which, by the way, that's fucking shitty. Alright, so back to this statement. Apparently, Impact Wrestling is interested in signing CM Punk. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, which, by the way, on any of these articles, if I mention somebody or mention a corporation or something like that, the links will be in the description. The links will hot tag to whatever articles I mention. Like, in this case, Pro Wrestling Insider. It'll have a hot tag to that article if you want to read up upon this. But according to Mike Johnson at PW Insider, Impact Wrestling are, quote, super excited, end quote, about the prospect of working with CM Punk. There's no word on if the two sides have held talks or even if Punk wants to come back to professional wrestling, and it's unknown if Impact would be a viable long-term option for Punk. By the way, just a little update. I don't remember this being a thing, but it was also mentioned that Punk is not expected to end up in New Japan Pro Wrestling, with PW Insider reporting that the promotion would likely not be interested in Punk due to their relationship with AEW. So now that's an interesting statement to break down, because Impact has this, like, I think they have a pretty decent work relationship with Punk. Oh, well, yeah, but with AEW specifically is what I meant. So that one's interesting because it's like, if one company wants to keep in great terms with AEW, I wonder why the other one's not really caring, which I get it, it's business at the end of the day. And last time Punk was there, when he played like Uno cards with them or whatever, apparently the whole roster was really high on him. So who knows, maybe it was just he was in a place that he didn't really like and he just wanted to leave it, so he decided, in my personal opinion, I don't know anything, but maybe he decided to take like the immature route to get out of his contract. I don't know. I'm not bad-mouthing the guy when I say it like that, because you got to do what you got to do, but like, maybe there was better ways for this whole situation to be handled. Maybe he handled it the best way possible. I don't know. I'm not him. More news on people leaving. Apparently Kelly... What? Kelly? Wrong one. I feel like I did an old bit there on accident. Kevin Kelly is set to exit New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2024. There's been a lot of speculation on social media, and following all that speculation, Kelly has confirmed his departure, tweeting, and I quote, "I am at some point soon, but I'll leave it to New Japan to announce it or not. I plan on calling Destruction and Ryogoku? I don't know. RYOGOKU. And Wrestle Kingdom / New Year's Dash." End quote. Kelly also noted that he's leaving New Japan because he no longer wants to spend weeks of time at Japan with, and his wife told him, quote, she does not want to be alone anymore. As much as I'm going to miss hearing his voice, he also still has a deal on Collision, so maybe that's not impacted. I haven't heard anything one way or another upon that. But with that being said, you got to take care of your family first. You know, no matter how much you love wrestling, at the end of the day, you love your wife more because you married her. And that's your family. WWE is high on Zoet Starks, apparently. According to Fightful Select, Stark has made a great impression on the main roster so far, and she's been receiving rave reviews from talent she has worked with since May. Several backstage have also praised Stark for the manner in which she handled her main roster call-up and the duties associated with being a talent on Monday Night Raw. I mean, to be fair, she has done an excellent job so far. Like, I haven't had an opportunity to watch it fully yet, but the steel cage match she had, I believe, last Monday or Monday before last on Raw, the steel cage match she had with that Becky Lynch had with Trish Stratus, and the fallout from that. She really did a great job at being like, all right, I'm done, Trish. You know, I don't know how else to describe it, but she did a good job at portraying her role. And I really loved to hate her in a character sense when she was doing the whole thank you, Trish thing. I think she's a great hand from what I've kind of seen on TV, you know, outsider, not a wrestler's perspective. I think she's doing a great job. Top WWE SmackDown talents now considered heels, apparently. So there's kind of been a whole switch up on the dynamics at SmackDown, with WrestleVote reporting that WWE's initial talent board, which we've kind of heard rumors about that here and there in the past, they've been updated to reflect that Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are now heels. LA Knight, meanwhile, is considered to be the top babyface on the blue brand. Oh, also, the latest talent board, which is used internally, saw an update post-payback on September the 3rd, so like 4 days ago. The exact quote that they tweeted out was, "Interesting news from SmackDown's side list LA Knight as top babyface. In addition, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are now categorized as heels." Something that sucks, though, is that there won't be a certain talent won't be able to come back into the ring at least until 2024, probably. Dakota Kai revealed on a recent Twitch stream that she won't be wrestling until next year, and I quote, "Probably 2024. I do think it's funny that a lot of people are like, she's not injured at all. Look at her walking around. ACL injury. I haven't even learned how to start running and jumping yet. I think I'm going to start running this week. ACL recovery, especially for someone in sport, we use our legs a lot. If I were a desk worker, I'd be back at work. Because it's wrestling, I won't be cleared until January," she said. That freaking sucks. I feel like every time that Dakota Kai gets a break, some sort of injury kind of takes her out, and that's not her fault. That's just the way life works. And it's not, I hate saying it so childishly, but it's not fair. I hope she has a speedy recovery and gets back to work as soon as possible. Because I'm just saying, Damage Control as tag team champions, her and Bayley specifically, Io Sky as the women's champion, or is that the women's championship? I forget which one Raw had. Yeah, the women's championship. No, hold on. Io has the SmackDown title, so I guess the women's world heavyweight champion, yeah? Or maybe it's the other way around. Point taken. Them with the tag team championships as well would be so cool. I know they're kind of overdoing the whole top stable gets all the title thing, but every time I've seen it so far, whether it's Evolution, The Shield, The Four Horsemen originally, Judgment Day currently, etc., I'm a sucker for it. You know, in wrestling, you're saying like, hey, we're the best and nobody can beat us. Well, hey, why don't you put some money where your mouth is, so to speak? Okay, well, here, we have all the titles. There you go. We're speaking loud and clear now, aren't we? Yeah. All right, so going back to the Punk stuff, I should have kind of kept it all together, but I got it scattered through here, I believe. Let me just skim through just to make sure. Yeah, I got I got a handful of Punk comments still throughout here, point taken. So Fightful Select has reported that Punk encouraged the idea of him leaving AEW, allegedly, so he could return to WWE, with one of the rumored pitches for Punk that made it back to the WWE locker room being a WrestleMania 39 match against Kevin Owens. The match would have came together following a Punk return at the 2023 Royal Rumble and his subsequent elimination from the match by Kevin Owens. There was never any serious consideration for Punk joining WWE from WWE's side or AEW, however. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, shout out to my homeboy, noted that in an update, Punk was open to returning to WWE, quote, because he just wanted to wrestle somewhere. Man, I don't know how to feel because like you you had somewhere to wrestle. You were literally the top dog for God knows how long, and then you gotta. I'm not gonna say he screwed it up because everybody's in the wrong in that situation, but you know, created a lot of controversy being the top dog, which that's how wrestling's always been. Look at any top guy, but I don't know. Maybe that whole situation could have been handled differently. Anyway, sometimes when I do these reviews, just a little disclaimer, I'm gonna have articles that like you read the headlines, that's it. So here's one: AEW releases a meat T-shirt, and I enjoy that. I'm kind of tempted to buy that shirt. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so we're going back to some Punk firings. Chris Jericho spoke upon Talk is Jericho on Punk's firing. Quote, I don't want to dwell on this or talk about it, but I should address it. CM Punk, no longer with AEW. Wembley was his last match, which, what a way to go out if you're going to go out. I did speak to him briefly. I was going to do a Frankensteiner off the top, and I know that he does that sometimes, so I was curious if he was going to do it. I went and talked to him for a bit and asked if he was going to do it. He wasn't. I told him I was going to do the GTS with a straight face. I think for a second he thought that I was going to. I was joking, of course. I did see him that day. It's a regretful moment, what happened, but Tony Khan made his decision. CM Punk was a big part of AEW from the time he was here, and if you're going to go out, he went out on top by having this big match with Samoa Joe at sold-out stadium. Yeah, I think that's a professional way of talking about it. Was any of that necessary or moved the CM Punk story? I think it was. Just because it's a funny little story. The whole like, oh hey, I'm gonna do the GTS tonight, okay? Wait, you're gonna do what? Nah, I'm just fucking with you. He also talks about in that same podcast a scrapped match for All In. According to Jericho, Sammy Guevara, there we go, versus Daniel Garcia was an idea floating around the All In card. However, it ultimately didn't happen. Although Guevara, at least he did accompany Jericho down to the ring to get a chance to experience the record-breaking crowd. Quote, I want Sammy out there with me to continue our storyline. I also want him to be able to feel that. I know he didn't... Oh, hold on. Yeah, I gotta get the Jericho voice. Sorry, I was quoting him. I know he didn't... What? He did? Yeah, let's try that again. I know he wanted to wrestle, and there was at one point I did do Daniel Garcia versus Sammy, but we just... you can't do everything on the show. I wanted him to be able to feel it when he was out there after Judas, like, this is fucking great, man. This is great. You can see him kind of jumping up and down, so he feels it, right? He wants to be on the show next year, but he knows what it... Hold on. He wants to be on the show next year, but now he knows what it feels like just to be in that atmosphere around that mass of humanity. So it sounds like they were going to do that, but I guess where they haven't had the experience in front of the crowd, they kind of wanted at least Sammy to feel it first before doing it, I guess. That's kind of what I'm ciphering from that. It's still great fucking story. Like, it's really cool. Grand Slam World Eliminator Tournament match set for AEW Dynamite. That's right. We got a couple of matches set up for Dynamite. So we got the 2 quarterfinal matches that'll take place on Dynamite, including a, quote, mentor versus protege match with Darby Allin versus Nick Wayne. The other quarterfinal match on Dynamite will see Roderick Strong go one-on-one with Trent Beretta. And already announced on Dynamite, of course, is Jericho and Guevara versus Aussie Open, and promos from Hangman and MJF. Moxley will also defend the International Championship and an open challenge against AR Fox. So expect Nick Wayne to get involved in that Fox match somehow. Also, the date of the next Saudi Arabia show has been revealed. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, WWE will hold the latest edition of Crown Jewel on Saturday, November 4th, and the event will emanate. There we go. My brain was like, I know this word. Sorry, the event will emanate from... I don't even want to give this a shot because I'm going to be offensive, so I'm going to spell it. RIYADH, the nation's capital. Scott Steiner's surprised by Steiner math's longevity, but he knows the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster. Scott Steiner himself has admitted he's surprised his promo lives on, saying the following to Denise Salcedo? Salcedo. Quote, I'm surprised it's lasted this long, you know? People love it. Because that was just one of those long lists of interviews that I did. It was just trying to be different, you know? I was actually trying to entertain myself. And then when I got done, one take, you know, people liked it, then they still do. God, I'm stumbling over my word, Steiner style. Anyway, they still do now, to this day. The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster. I love that bit, I'm sorry. Jeff Jerrett has spoken on Tony Khan's call to fire CM Punk. Jeff Jarrett has spoken on Tony Khan's call to fire CM Punk. Yeah, that was like my 5th take of trying that, but we're keeping that one. One name from within AEW has spoken about Khan's decision is Jerrett, with Double J saying the following on Punk's firing on the My World podcast. God. The reality of the situation. You're asking me to make comments on a situation that, and I really believe this, there are only 2 people in the world that have full context. Some people can say, I knew this, I knew that, but you may, but you don't know what Tony knows, and you don't know what Phil, CM Punk, knows. Nobody knows but them 2. I would have, ... to comment the specifics, but in general purposes, the decision Tony made, big cojones, hit it straight on. Alright, so I think Jarrett's proud of him. Jarrett's no stranger to the politics of the wrestling world. He's grown up in the business, you know. His father was Jerry Jerrett, owned 1 billion different wrestling companies, and he believes that his father would have handled the situation similar to how TK did. Quote, there were 3 things done. The social media audience, the discussion in the United Center, the television audience, and the live audience. All of them were addressed head on. When I read that release, it was clear as the legal situation could possibly be. I believe my old man would have been aligned with it because get in front of it. That's a hard pill to swallow. The easy one would have been wait till Monday. There are multiple things you could have done. Reconciliation, a cooling off period. We can talk about it ad nauseum, and it had been talked over and over and over for months. Getting in front of things with a clear-cut decision made absolutely was the right thing to do. It's best for business. Your consumers were informed. I don't think there are downsides to that. Whew. Jerrett, man, I love you. I love what you've done for the business. That was so hard to read. A faction is under contract with AEW. Did you know that Dutch revealed that the Righteous are signed with AEW on developmentally speaking? Quote, everything's going great. Couldn't be better. We are officially signed with AEW now, so yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for us. We want to create something that people haven't seen in a long time. I know we're going to be getting comparisons to the Wyatt family and this and that, but everything's been done already. There will never be another Bray Wyatt. Nothing will ever compare to him or his creativity or the way that his brain works. Nobody will ever be like him again. Like I said, we're obviously going to be getting the comparisons. But the stuff we have in mind for our future is brand new and exciting. And some fun stuff on the way, hopefully, Dutch said. I think that's... I read that in Dutch Mantel. I'm not familiar with this group. Who are they? The Righteous? Yeah, I'm not familiar with them. So, my apologies if there's a member named Dutch in there that's not Dutch Mantel. Scorpio Sky recently made his return, I think on like the first week of July's edition of Collision, with a victory over Action Andrade, but it was ruled out with injury once more after the match took place. Thankfully, he returned on the, what do they call it? Budget Charity Battle Royale on the All Out 0 Hour pre-show on September 3rd, eliminating several talents before he got eliminated. A report from Fightful Select suggests that those in AEW are happy he didn't miss more time, with the most recent injury said to have been a freak accident. I don't know if they're happy because he's got like a little push coming, or they're just happy because he didn't have to stay out long with an injury. But, I mean, that's good to know that even, like, I hate how I'm going to say this, but even Scorpio Sky, a veteran of this stinking business, that people are like, oh, hey, I'm thrilled that you're not injured any longer. Going back to the CM Punk firing, according to Mike Johnson, a PW insider, Punk's firing was being discussed backstage in WWE within minutes of TK's announcement, especially among top talents. Some talents were adamantly against the idea, end quote, of WWE potentially bringing in Punk, and they didn't believe it could happen. Others, meanwhile, view a potential Punk return as a chance to make big money. One top star was also all for Punk coming to WWE, although they would have no influence over any possible deal for Punk. If WWE are interested in signing Punk, it's unknown on that, but rumors have signaled Triple H and Vince are open to making a business deal with the former champ, and the final call ultimately would be made by Endeavor, since the merger, they technically own everything that business-wise that goes on with UFC and the WWE. So that's going to be interesting. Oh, hi. Recently, Tony Khan has talked about how important Bryan Danielson is to AEW, saying that he'd want the American Dragon to take over if he were ever, like, quote, hit by a bus. A new report from PW Insider states that Danielson's backstage influence is indeed growing, as especially over the past 6 weeks, Danielson has seemingly taken on greater responsibilities in the company, especially with regards to facilitating between talents. Felicitating, Dylan. What are you? Hello. But yeah, that's cool though that they have somebody who can be front with you and be honest about it, but also can be impartial towards situations. A good humanitarian from kind of what I've heard and what I've seen. So it's good on them for getting somebody. And also, I'm trying to see, was it last night? I think, it would have been Wednesday night. Following Tiffany Stratton's NXT title defense over Kiana James, Becky Lynch appeared on the Titantron and revealed that she would be coming back to NXT next week to challenge Stratton for her WWE Championship, with the match then being made official for the September 12th episode, which I believe, that's next week. So that's awesome. And, let's see here. I'm trying to think. They had some back and forth kind of building up to this match between Tiffany Stratton coming out at Payback and interrupting her interview to, like, her listing off former champions, like NXT champions, and Becky Lynch was mentioned, but never, like, an official champion on there, and et cetera, et cetera. They've been going back and forth recently. Here's the backstage news on CJ Perry's AEW All Out debut. Fightful Select noting that Perry's deal only came together the prior week or so before All Out. The report further states that there is no ring name that has been publicly revealed for Perry, although it seems that Perry and Miro will be intertwined to AEW television going forward. AEW President Tony Khan spoke of Perry's debut during the post-All Out media scrum, as well as several other things that maybe I'll do like last week's news or something like that and mention it, but who knows. He was insinuating during that Perry's run will not be a long-term deal, although this could possibly change. And the last article that I have written down here, again, just to reiterate what I said at the beginning of this like hour-long video, there's a billion different articles that I know I haven't even touched on. So if you want to check the links in the description below, there's, again, a billion different news sites that I use and look up normally on the day-to-day for news. But like I said, sometimes I'm just going to use one site and then cite articles from that site, basically. Anyway, news on Tony Khan's creation of AEW Wrestle Dream. The show was announced by AEW President TK Tony Khan during the post All In press conference in August and during the post All Out media scrum on September 3rd. Khan revealed more behind-the-scenes events inception. Quote, "I'm very excited for Wrestle Dream. We're about a month out from Wrestle Dream right now. We haven't had a chance to ever really, since I introduced the event or... Hold on. Okay. Or talked about it for the first time. We haven't really had a chance as a collective to talk about the event, but it means a lot to me personally. Last year, when Antonio Inoki passed away, I was in a hotel room, as I often am, and on the road. I remember thinking to myself, mark this date down and start planning ahead and start thinking ahead. I talked to New Japan, and they were very supportive, and they're going to be sending stars to participate in the event. I think it's really cool. Are you a star that's going to participate in the event, Little Pumpkin? Are you one of the participants and you're just now telling me? That'd be crazy. Alright. That does it for the news. I'm going to say it one more time because I've said it like 2 times already, so 3rd time's the charm. I have a billion different sites I go to. Each day I kind of cycle through them. And today so happened to be this site's. Oh, hi! So happened to be this site's day. So if you want to check out any of the sites that I use, hopefully I'll link them all in the description below. But I know for a fact I'm going to link all my sources for this video in the description below if you're interested in checking them out. I thank you for listening. Hopefully I'll be back at this like tomorrow, but no promises because I get burned out super flippin' easily. The only thing I can promise is gameplay on either Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe Thursday. So thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you, my friends. Bye!